in the directory I talked about to open on in another window, which is, for me it is C users OS application data / OpenMRS. Okay. Over here you have a folder called modules. Right now it's empty, right? You have Lucene, I'll talk about this. You have configuration, that comes later, and this OpenMRS -runtime.properties file. This is where your OpenMRS credentials and the encryption key is defined. So all the settings you the basic settings OpenMRS needs to run, those are found over here. Everything else goes into global properties. Okay, that's something to bear in mind. Now the modules you downloaded, these are the ones you need to copy into the modules directory. So I'm going to go to Tomcat and Control C to shut it down, and I'm going to copy all these modules except the MDRTB module. Except the MDRTB, copy all the modules inside the module directory of OpenMRS's application data directory. This one is the most important point in during the installation, because when you have it installed, you don't have a UI or anything to interact with OpenMRS. Now I have copied all the module which contains this legacy UI module. That's the module that populates the old legacy OpenMRS UI. Now you can actually deploy the new module, new UI as well, but that will require you to deploy many more modules. Like there's a whole list of other modules which make your server really bulky. So reference application doesn't come as just one single module like legacy UI. All these OMOD files, they have to be deployed on your server to be able to populate the new reference UI. You can deploy a reference UI module in the current installation as well, but it's not really it doesn't add much value. You will have to do admin functions, and for administration still you are going to use the legacy UI, and that's why there's no use for the latest UI to be to install inside the OpenMRS. But anyway, I'll go back to my Tomcat and go to bin and start again. This time it's going to start and also apply new changes, because we now have a new module. We now have plenty of new modules to install. So you see it's going to apply liquid-based updates, and this is the part where OpenMRS sometimes behaves strangely. So sometimes you have to do sort of hit and trial and install these modules in a specific order, change the order, retry again until all the modules start working. This happens randomly, so I can't say that there is a pattern to it, but it basically it works after a few tries. So modules sometimes get uploaded in the wrong order or something. I'm not entirely sure what happens, but sometimes you run into a trouble that modules deploy, one or more modules will fail. You'll have to shut down Tomcat, start it again, do some hit and trial to make it work. Okay. Now we have these modules uploaded, OpenMRS restarted. Now I'm going to refresh this page again. This time I have the OpenMRS UI populated. This completes our OpenMRS installation. I'm going to put in my admin password, the same admin password which we defined. Okay, and now you can see the whole UI. The concept dictionary is going to be basically empty right now. It's just going to be 2-3 concepts. True and false, 2 concepts. There won't be any patients, there won't be any users, there's nothing there. But the modules, all of them exist now. So I'm going to go to manage modules in admin, and I am going to make sure all the modules exist. So all of these have been started. If I want to stop any particular module, say HTML form entry module, I can stop from over here. I can delete modules, I can add or update new modules. Okay. Now something to note down: during this first installation we skipped MDRTB module, right? The reason we did that is because we do not have the metadata that's required to run the MDRTB module. So if I try to deploy it, I don't even have the concept dictionary, nor the encounter types. I have nothing which are required to run the the MDRTB module, which is why I haven't deployed the module yet. So very important thing to note: when you install OpenMRS, after you've installed it, when you are deploying the modules, skip MDRTB module until you have the data migrated. Now, so far we have our OpenMRS instance ready, and I believe it's working on your machine as well. The very next step is data migration. This time I am going to go to my GitHub, and I will clone a new repository. This will be my OpenMRS module MDRTB. Yes, OpenMRS MDRTB ETL job. That's the repository which I'm going to clone, and this is the repository which is going to help you migrate the data. I'll show you, I'll send you the link to GitHub as well. Here's the repository you need to have on your system for the ETL job. Now, the OpenMRS ETL, this project depends on Python. So you have to have Python installed on your system, and for Python I believe you are using VS Code. I am going to use PyCharm. That's my go-to IDE for Python. I will leave OpenMRS running as is, and need a better style. A better style, I just need a light theme. Okay, so I already have the project open in PyCharm. But if you are using PyCharm, let me just quickly show you. When you launch PyCharm, this is the window you get, and this is web app. Let me re-import it. You're going to open, navigate to the ETL job project. Actually, I already have another copy inside this folder, OpenMRS Tajikistan. So I'm going to load this one instead of the other. ETL job. So this is my ETL project. Right now I don't have any data in OpenMRS test. Okay. main.py. You can go to readme file and understand how this project works, what are the exact commands I need to execute, but I'll just simply go ahead and show you what's doc. Okay, fine. I'll just go ahead and run it from my end, and it's complaining that I don't have a runtime environment right now. Now PyCharm gives me plenty of options, but I'm going to use the terminal because I think here on VS Code you will have to also do the same. So I'm going to write Python mvenv and create a virtual environment inside directory venv. So this is going to be my Python virtual environment, and now I need to install certain dependencies which all exist over here in requirements.txt file. Easier way is to just say pip install -r requirements.txt, and this command is going to take care of all the dependencies. Okay. While these dependencies are being installed, let me talk about the .env file. You will not have this file out of the box when you check out the repository. So I have to make certain changes to this file .env file. I am doing exactly the same thing here as well. And now I'm going to run a bunch of commands to import. Just happened, I have installed everything. And it should go. So the commands I'm going to run are execute this ETL job. However, to save time, I will just make one change. In the extraction job, I already have it. The observation import process I have disabled, and the reason is because it takes really too much time. It takes hours. You may complete the process and then exclusively run this ops group job. Yeah, this is an important one. Okay, so without further ado, I'll execute the command I need. The command is going to be Python main, and I will provide some arguments. First argument is going to be hard reset. This means I am going to run everything from scratch. The second argument is extract. So what I'm going to do is, I won't extract and load at the same time. I will only extract first, and when everything is extracted, only then I'm going to load. So when I run this, see what happens. Connecting to source, connecting to target, connection successful, target connection successful, pre-ETL job executed, fetching data from source, and now the extraction process has begun. What's happening here? Let me show you what's happening with our database OpenMRS test. For every table we want to import, there's a staging table being created with an underscore. The convention is to have the same table name starting with underscore. So for our entire database, there is a copy being created inside this. The difference is it's not the exact same clone. These are extracted based on certain removing certain constraints. So for example, no foreign keys are applied. So the data is being extracted in flat, you can say, tables, without indexing, without foreign key relationships, nothing. And of course, when you run it, it will take too much time, because you would be pulling data directly from the production machine. Okay. So let it complete. It's going to take about 10 minutes. Let me pause the recording. As you can see, the extraction part, that's done. Extraction is quite easy, by the way. It's going to clone all the relevant tables, and is this really complete or not? Encounter results, encounters, extraction job. Okay, only the observations, ops tables remaining, and when you load, the ops will also not get loaded. Yeah. And now I'm going to rerun this. This time I will remove hard reset, and I will say load. These are, by the way, defined in the code as well. And my load method is now going to fill my database. But before that, I am going to, just for safety and to just being sure, okay, so this happens sometimes. Although all the tables must exist, it's not showing for some reason. So encounter, you see it's in the wrong order. So you do have person, and then below you have encounters. Sometimes I don't know why it does that. I'm going to reopen this connection, and it will fix by itself. This is a problem with MySQL Workbench, by the way, not MySQL Server itself. So now you have all the tables in the right order. Anyway, I will first of all, before loading anything, go ahead into administration, export data, and take a dump of this database. Call it OpenMRS test, and export into a single file, all tables, because during load anything can go wrong. Any single record in foreign key, any single integrity problem, that sometimes happens. It's exported, but I don't think it's exported everything. Of course it cannot be this fast. I will rerun it. Something must have gone wrong. I know for a fact my system is not that fast. Oh, it is. Wow. Okay, so the reason being there's no observation table. So encounter all of those tables. See, about 90% of your database is just encounters and observations. Okay, it's finished. Now I'm going to execute the load. Okay, so we have encountered our very first problem, and this problem is coming from no connection because target machine refused it. That makes no sense. Okay, illegal mix of for operation equals sign. Insert into concept class. Wow, that's very weird. Okay, so I picked general CI instead of Unicode CI in collation. That's ouch. Hang on, let me just try to find a fix for this situation we have. Recording. Okay, so now we have some data already loaded and the rest is being loaded. While this happens, I'm going to show you something which is also sometimes becomes a problem and we don't know how to fix it. You see, the concept dictionary exists. Now let me actually show you from select size from concept. The concept table is now full. We have them all. Let's check the name concept names as well. We have imported the concept dictionary, but if we search for something, say respiratory rate, no matching results found. However, looking into its concept ID, 165 respiratory rate is found. So what's happening here? And this exactly the same thing goes with the patients not found. Ali Habib not found. Why? Because we have not indexed the data yet. This is a very important critical feature of OpenMRS, and it's really really enhances the overall experience. OpenMRS has implemented something called text indexing. It's a text mining technique, by the way, and they've used this library called Leucine for that. Right now my Leucine is like 345 bytes. It has no indexes. What indexes does is, if you go into admin page, go to search index, and I'm going to rebuild search index. So what is indexing? It's updating. It's going to take a few minutes. Indexing takes all the strings and creates integer indexes against them. So it will now become it will be like a dictionary, a matrix, which can enhance, really speed up the search process. So when you're searching for a particular string in a table that contains thousands of records, hundreds of thousands of records, say when I search for Ali Habib, or just write Ali. Now when I type AL, the search engine executes the search. Now imagine searching for AL in 20,000 rows. It will obviously go through every row and match AL within the strings. So within the substring, it's going to match AL and then bring the results. That's quite a slow process. So what indexing does is, it indexes all these strings, the text-based searches, into the way we search for integers for the keyed columns, and builds that index for us. And once that index is built, I think ongoing. The process is still in its hour of day, whatever. I think there are some patient identifier. There is no entity for this one. These problems also exist. Somewhere down the road, some data was deleted from OpenMRS, and that is not. We'll have to hunt down all these. We'll have to write a comprehensive process to find all these entities, and that's obviously a big issue for us. To have any single record that's missing, it's going to obviously affect the overall functionality. But anyway, the index is being built. Some part of it will have been built already. So let's go ahead and try to search again. Okay, so concept dictionary is now built. I'm able to search by concept name. What happens is, sometimes you run into this situation that you just created a patient, and like 5 seconds later you were searching for the name and you were not getting any results. What's happening is, OpenMRS does take care of indexing. It continuously indexes the data, but it takes a few minutes. It may take up to 3 or 4 minutes to index a patient record completely. So when you create a patient, you've entered the name, and now you're searching for this patient, you can't find it. If you run into such situation, just search by the patient ID, and after like a few minutes, 3 or 4 minutes, search by the patient name again, it's going to show up. So that's like a tip for the team, for the field team. You can explain them, no, you've created a patient record, it exists. What happens is that they would lodge a complaint. Okay, I'm unable to search for this patient. And then by the time you are looking into the data, you search for it, you find it, and then you say, oh, I can reproduce the problem. And then the user again searches for the patient by name, and voila, now they can see the name. So you created a patient called Anwar. Immediately you searched for it in your interface, there were no results. You complained, I created a patient, this and that ID, name is Anwar, I'm unable to find it. Now I logged into my OpenMRS, checked for Anwar, I saw the result, I called the complainer back, okay, no, I'm able to search by name. So they are going to double check on their system now, and this time they've entered Anwar and Anwar showed up. Why? Because it took a few minutes for OpenMRS to index this record, this newly entered record. This is a very really important point I wanted to make. It's not there in the documentations provided or in the module anywhere, but it's general. It's related to general OpenMRS understanding. So this is how the indexing is being handled. If you want to reindex, you can just go ahead and reindex here manually, but you can also delete this and let OpenMRS do the indexing again. Generally it is not recommended to touch this folder at all once you are in production, once your system starts working. So we now have another situation that lab test type does not exist. Of course it doesn't exist. Why does it not exist? Because we have not deployed the module, right? Now this is the part where you go back and forth. What do I mean by that? I told you we cannot deploy the module because there is no data. Now in order to bring the data in, I ran the data, the ETL job. Now that I have the data, I can deploy the module, but the data itself isn't complete. So you see, lab test type, these forms are missing. In order to create this table is missing. Why is it missing? Because I have not deployed the module. It's a chicken egg argument, which you resolve by dealing it as such. So chicken egg argument, this time chicken exists, egg doesn't. I'm going to go ahead in the modules, add a module, go into the same directory where my modules are, and this time I'm going to deploy MDRTB module. Fingers crossed it may deploy in the first time if we are extremely lucky, or it may cause some trouble. The last few attempts were successful for me and the module deployed well, but because there's just so many moving parts, so many configurations, sometimes it breaks. So no operations allowed after connection closed. There's some rollback happening somewhere. During mass indexing, it's missing. Patient identifier not found for some particular patient, and annotation configurator missing. Okay, we have the module deployed. Now the module is working. By the way, this is version 2.8 we are working on. The module is deployed. This time we have lab test type in our database. So lab test type, the first record exists. Then now what? Do we run the load function again? Yes. In production you will just go ahead and rerun the process, but we do have liberty to simply load this segment of our import function. the loader. So I have the data loaded till orders, right, drug orders, and I only need the lab group to be loaded. So now I'm gonna go ahead and relaunch the load. I have committed everything else because why not, and this time around it should complete normally. Yeah, it's loading the data for lab tests and lab test samples. Actually, yeah, now I will also search for patients by name.
Try test.
Oh, okay. So we didn't have, well, anyway, there are no observations by the way so far. So test patient has MDRTB, multiple enrollments in MDR and dots. Okay, we have form and T graph, demographics, some. Actually this is complete data. Patient address. Okay, so this particular issue is coming from over here. Actually I just need to verify one more thing. Yeah, the problem still persists. I'll have to fix this one. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the location, patient person is the address, manage address template. This problem is coming from over here. So this is a strange, how do I put it? OpenMRS needs to fix this thingy here because it's a very weird way to handle template of your addresses, and I'll explain this in a bit. It made sense for like older versions, but no longer. I mean, that's just a pretty dumb way to express templates. Address. Is this in? Something hard coded. Okay, so there's a layout format defined as Tajik, and Tajik format is maybe hard coded in the code. What is this template does is it provides a way to express to populate the address fields. And sometimes what happens is that you're using one particular field, address 1, address 2, you're renaming one field to another, and this creates a whole like headache to handle. So let me just try to see if I can fix this from over here in my collection. Where's the the code formatting. This is a shortcut to format code.
Sorry, I didn't get the.
I need to format this XML. Actually, let me pull my old friend notebook plus. Yeah. This is what I was looking for. So this format is how you define address layout, and it's a messy way to deal with the formatting. I don't know why OpenMRS has to fix this one. So what this does is it says what fields are you going to populate into the address block, in what order, and let's say I do only this. Let's remove these, and address 1, address 2, I only keep these, and country. So that's the format I'm saying I'm gonna use, right? And this time I should be able to view the patient's address. Now there's some invalid property dot region in patient. Anyway, I don't know what's causing this, but this is not the IDE we are going to use anyway. It's got something to do with our own schema. By the way, let me go back ahead and see if we ran into any further troubles. No, we did not. It appears that all the data has now been imported. Let me see all the attributes. Lab test attribute type. So attribute type, we do have attribute data is still pending. I'll have to look into this because the queries are executing. Insert into lab test attribute, but I think some of the there is something that's causing this query to fail. Let's test it out. This is a very recent addition. It's supposed to work. I don't know which one is. Oh, sorry, we don't have observations. So without the obs table, of course, the data is not being imported. That's fine. What we can do is, for the sake of completion, while we go for break, I will run the obs report side by side, and some part of it should be completed then by the time we return.
I have two questions while you are doing this. First, you did handle the address hierarchy that was done for the oldest version. So we don't using this address hierarchy in the new version, or it's the same for the new one?
No. So this address hierarchy is not the hierarchy in like logical sense. This is only a template to show the address dialog box in OpenMRS's own IDE. So this old interface, it is trying to populate address, but the way the address is represented, expressed in our schema, does not match with the OpenMRS's default schema, which is why it's showing an error. Our address hierarchy has not changed. It's still the same as Tajikistan from day one. We just implemented it in a better way, created new classes to represent the hierarchy, adopted to address hierarchy model, created levels instead of hard coding everything. That's what happened. So it's not showing up in this IDE, but we are not obviously using this IDE to begin with. We only have this for this administration page, for no other reason, because everything else we know we are gonna handle from the latest web application. So
it means that for the new version, you are using the same address hierarchy that was in the older version, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
We are right now extracting observation in batches. So every batch has 10,000 ops records, and the same would be loaded into ops table. And loading data into observation table, of course, takes plenty of time, even for a very strong system. All right, let's take a break. It's 12:50. We will come back at 2:15. Okay, so here we are, and as you can see, the progress has been, well, we are so far into year 2025. Observations are still being imported, but big chunk of it is already done. So it's like in one batch we load data worth a whole month. So sorry, a whole year, and we are at year 2025. So it's gonna take a bit. But let's not wait for this part to complete. What we covered so far was yet one important aspect of this whole journey, which is deploying OpenMRS. Now this was the manual part. I have also created, let me load that project. On GitHub, you're going to find another project. It's called OpenMRS Tajikistan, and this is actually not in the OpenMRS's library. It's E2 Systems namespace, and this project is specifically to handle the deployments only. Right? So if you go through the README, it's going to explain the whole process. Basically, you need to follow this as is. There's nothing complex about it. I just want to show you how the Dockerized version of deployment works. So I'm going to stop my version of Tomcat, and I am populating Docker desktop. Let's stop this one too. So not only desktop, I'm going to just go ahead and delete it. So OpenMRS Tajikistan gone. Okay, now let me load this repo as a separate project. Close this one and open OpenMRS Tajikistan. Okay. When you load this project, you won't see these three sub projects. I've just copied them in the same folder. They are not part of the repository per se, so you can ignore these three projects. This is ETL job project I showed you. This is the MDRTB module, and this is the web app we are going to talk about shortly. The rest is what this project is. Now the projects, this one's purpose is to enable Dockerized deployment. You can say that this is only for the deployment. Now what you have is, when you check out this project in your server, or if you're using Jenkins for DevOps, whichever, it's going to help you deploy in Dockerized environment. And let me just go through these steps real quick. So I'm here, maximize this window, in the readme file. See, there is this first command which is going to create a .env file. So you're going to pick this .env example and copy it, like create a copy and rename it to .env. This is your environment file. You don't need to change much. You just have to specify the username and password, basically the password for the new for the OpenMRS instance. The only thing you need to bear in mind is that the MySQL server, the database, that stays in the host operating system, not the Docker. So I haven't created a separate MySQL container. The MySQL database remains on your host operating system for various reasons, of course, mainly being the ability to create backups easily, restore, enable manual deployments and all. So our DB username is OpenMRS, database name is OpenMRS test, username, password, all of it, yeah, that's pretty much all we need. Actually, let me just edit the file. Yeah, okay. We have OpenMRS host port 8080, and then it is going to deploy Redis as well. So we need Redis for the web application deployment. Now this packages the deployment of MDRTB module, the OpenMRS plus the MDRTB module plus the web application. That's the most important thing this small sub project does. We are not talking about a single OpenMRS deployment. As you can see, we have service, we have Redis, we have then OpenMRS, and we have the module, the web app as well. So all these three are going to be deployed as a combination. Now I don't need to do much, just run this command, docker compose up -d. That's all you need to do. So it's waiting for Redis. Is the Redis? Yeah, Redis is up. That's it. There you go. Deployed. Of course, the first time it's going to download many of these images, but now I have the OpenMRS app, which is it's OpenMRS. That's our OpenMRS instance, and on port 8000 we have the web app. Let's see if yeah, here's the web app, and here we have the OpenMRS. Let it load. It shouldn't take that much time. OpenMRS not ready. Okay, let it take its time. It takes up to 30 seconds for OpenMRS to like launch and load and all the modules, but yeah, it's there now. So we have our OpenMRS, we have the application, and this simplifies plenty of our pain points. So the deployment has always been a hassle, and that's part of this was actually planned much earlier in the previous revision. This was planned, but we did create Docker Dockerized deployment for the web app, although it wasn't eventually deployed. But now in this package we have OpenMRS as well as the MDRTB module both deployed. So I'll go ahead and just log in. There, this is our actually I don't think this is the latest UI. Hang on, give me a second. Docker compose down. There are just two commands, up and down. Up is going to bring the Docker containers up, and then down is going to bring it down. I will just make sure that these are properly built and recreated. So let it stop.
One question regarding the Docker.
Yeah.
Are the images are stored in a repository, or we have to download them and then run the command Docker compose?
No. You have this. Okay. So we are not using Docker Hub, if that's what you're referring to.
Yeah.
They are not hosted on Docker Hub. You just need this code, this project to be checked out, and then that's it. If you want to host on the image on Docker Hub, well, you can, but I didn't feel the need for that. You can just clone this project. It's open. What's the need? It also takes care of the OpenMRS war file, which is again something you can plonk any war file. It's gonna go over there. So I didn't feel the need. If you want, you can host it on Docker Hub. That's not a problem.
Yeah, it means that we have to download first the images and then run the command.
No, it's good. No, you don't have to download any images. It's gonna do it for you. The images, what you're saying, are all standard. So we have, let me show you the Docker file. So Tomcat 9 image exists in the Docker Hub, right? Similarly, if I go to Docker over here, we need Python 3.10. This also exists. So these images do exist there, and we are only pulling them. Image Redis 7 Alpine, and then this one is built, OpenMRS 1. Redis already exists. We are also building the MDRTB web one. So yeah, there's no need to download anything or such things. This is all basically tried and tested. You don't need to worry about anything. Maybe this one, if you want to increase the Java the memory, and you might want to, so minimum is 2 gigs and up to 4 gigs. These are your heap parameters. So you may set these values to maybe starting with 4 GB and maybe go up to 16 GB depending on the volume you're handling. Back in I think 2014 2015, we had this huge massive project which was deployed across Pakistan, and we had patients in millions, records in millions. So we needed this value very high. It used to be about, if I'm not wrong, 32 GB of just heap memory. But I don't think at your scale you're gonna need more than 8 gigs. And also this is only when you have a very rapidly changing system too. I mean, if you have more than 50 health workers running at the same time, entering data, changing it, creating new stuff, then that's where the heap memory grows, and Java doesn't find enough time to flush off existing objects. So that's why we run into this heap memory error in Java. Then you have plenty of stale objects in memory, which were not collected by the garbage collector service yet, and the Java virtual machine ran out of virtual memory to create new objects. But I don't think that's something you need to be you need to worry about much.